If you're hoping to apply to a university in the UK, then you're going to have to write a personal statement. Now, chances are you don't have much experience writing one before, so in this video I'm going to be going through what a personal statement is, what you should include, and how to start writing one. So firstly, what is a personal statement? A personal statement is a piece of writing describing yourself, your abilities, your achievements, and your aspirations. Writing one can be challenging because often people don't like to heap praise on themselves or attention, preferring to be more modest or brush things off. That's not always a bad thing in real life, however, now is the time to convince yourself that you are actually a good candidate and will be an interesting person for this university to admit, so your personal statement can reflect this. What should you include in your personal statement? Most people will put the qualifications that they are studying for. However, don't just list them. The university will already have this information through UCAS. Instead, take the time to detail how they're relevant to the course that you're applying for and what you've learned from them. If you've had the opportunity to compete in competitions related to your subject, then definitely include them, especially if you did well. They're a great way to show a desire to learn beyond the curriculum. Books are a very common theme on personal statements, and they're a great way to show extracurricular learning on your behalf. You have to go out, find a book, put the time commitment in to read it, and then you can put it down on your personal statement. But don't just list books. I mean, it may sound very impressive that you've read 20 different books on your subject. However, I think the admissions tutor will be far more interested if you just pick out a particular chapter or topic that the book covered and discuss that in more detail, or how that's inspired you to pursue further things, or you want to research that at university. Aside from books, you could also include lectures, online courses, documentaries, videos that you've watched, and any other media that you've consumed related to your subject. Also consider adding work experience on your personal statement. For some subjects it's absolutely essential, like in medicine, whereas others, for example maths, university really won't be bothered at all. Also, if you do include it, don't just give an autobiographical account of what you did. Make sure you pick out something that you found interesting and explain that further. Now, things to avoid on your personal statement. Quotes are generally a bad idea because anyone could go on the internet and find an inspirational quote. Unless it's particularly relevant to you and you can explain that in detail, I would avoid them as they tend to be a waste of characters. Another thing that's going to bog down your personal statement is an excessive use of a thesaurus. So it may sound impressive to have some very long words on it, but often it's going to make your personal statement sound like a Shakespeare play, and you run the risk of using a word which you don't know and using it incorrectly. I would say keep it simple, don't waffle, and write with your own voice. As I've mentioned before, try to avoid lists. It may sound very impressive to reel off a list of 20 or so things, but your personal statement is your opportunity to explain these things in more detail, so I would definitely take that. You can put as much as you want on your UCAS form, but this is the time to explain why it has shaped what you want to do or made you a better candidate. Now, unless you're a master of comedy applying to be a clown, I would avoid the use of humour. It's going to be really difficult to get right because you don't know the sense of humour of the application tutor, and also you're trying to be professional, so you probably wouldn't go into a job interview with a joke in mind, so maybe don't put it on your personal statement. Make sure you double, triple, quadruple, whatever the fifth one is, check your work for errors. It's going to sound unprofessional if you have spelling mistakes or missing apostrophes, so make use of any available proofreading resources, including family and friends of course, and just make sure there aren't spelling and grammar errors. Now, you don't have to be the pinnacle of positivity in your personal statement, but do try to avoid being negative. Don't play down your achievements. You don't have to overly exaggerate them either, but don't belittle yourself basically. And obviously the last one goes without saying, but I will put it in there for completeness. Don't lie, you're just cheating yourself and you might get caught, so don't bother. So there are some ideas of stuff to include and stuff to avoid. Now I'm going to be going through the process that I use to write my personal statement. Step 1 is brainstorm, so don't be fussy here. Jot down everything and anything that you think might be useful for your personal statement, the stuff that you've done in the past. It doesn't have to be particularly neat. You can bullet point or use a mind map and make use of family, friends and teachers so you can get as much material as possible. Step 2 is draft. So this is where you're going to be beginning to string your bullet points into sentences and paragraphs. Don't worry about word count yet. In fact, probably write more than you need because the next step will cover this. Step 3 is trim. So at this point I would print out your rough draft and take a red pen or a highlighter and go through, cross out anything that you don't like, highlight areas that you want to amend or change, and ask yourself questions such as, does it make sense? If not, rephrase it. Will the university care about this? If not, scrap it. And have I explained this enough? If not, then explain it more. When I was writing my personal statement, I did this step several times, leaving a few days in between, so I could come back with fresh eyes and new ideas. Finally, step 4 is polish, so this is the point to start working on a strong introduction which captivates the reader and a good conclusion which will stick in an admission tutor's mind. Keep in mind that writing a personal statement is difficult and will take time, but it is a valuable skill to develop and will add weight to your application. Don't read other people's personal statements and think that that is the way to do it, because everyone is an individual and the personal statement will reflect this. Most of all, make sure that your personal statement is clear and academically focused on the degree that you want to study. When I was writing my personal statement, I went through it again and again and again. By the end of it, my personal statement folder had like personal statement 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4, final in capital letters. So don't worry about doing it again and again and again until you're happy with it. I hope this video has been helpful and will set you on your way to writing a good personal statement which will get you into your dream university. Start early and take your time, it will really help your application. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back with more videos about Cambridge and university soon, so stay tuned for them. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.